December is the time of New Year's resolutions, and for many of us that means giving up smoking, but it can be difficult, and the statistics show that at least half of us will fail. There are around 12 million adult smokers in Britain. That's just over a quarter of the total population. 11 million of us have managed to kick the habit. For those who continue to smoke, 70% say they'd like to give up because of the health risks. Every year, 114,000 smokers in the UK die as a result of their habit. And in England alone, 1,000 people are admitted to the NHS hospitals with smoking-related diseases every day. But smoking is big business. The government spends around £70 million on measures to help people to kick the habit. That may seem like a lot of money, but not when compared to the £8 billion the Treasury pockets from tobacco duty, excluding VAT, every year. So for smokers who plan to make 2006 a year to quit, if the health factor isn't enough to deter you, just think about how much it's costing you.
Well, we're joined now by Alan Carr, a psychologist who's an expert on how to give up smoking, and by Sarah Ward, who's from the charity A.S.H., which campaigns, of course, for the control of smoking. Welcome to you both. Alan Carr, let me start with you. You're well known for your methods of giving up smoking, but how did you get into the business? You're a reform smoker yourself, aren't you?
Well, I smoked 100 a day for about 30 years. I knew it was killing me, and I had umpteen attempts to stop. I hated being a smoker. But whenever I stopped, I was miserable, I couldn't concentrate. And in the end, I thought, well, whether I like it or not, I'm a confirmed smoker and there's no way out. And then one day, certain things happened in close succession, and I thought, well, I'll give it one more attempt. And it was so easy, it was unbelievable.
Well, what was different about that attempt than your previous attempts?
Well, because if you ask smokers why they smoke, they'll either say it relaxes me, it gives me confidence, it helps me concentrate, it relieves boredom, and I like to smoke under stress. Now, relaxation and stress situations are complete opposites. Concentration and boredom are complete opposites. And if you tried to sell somebody a magic pill that would do the opposite to what it did an hour later, and it suddenly dawned on me that it couldn't do all these things. It's only that smokers get in a panic, and the cigarette it actually causes the panic. And I suddenly realised that smoking was just like banging your head against the wall to make it nice when you stop. And once I realised that it wasn't a weakness in me, then instead of, oh God, I mustn't smoke again, or I'm not allowed to smoke again, it was like being released from a prison. And I've never had the slightest urge to smoke since. In fact, sorry.
Perhaps this is a question you can both answer. How do you get to the stage to wanting to give up? Sarah, first of all, do you have to really want to give up before you can?
It's much better if you really want to give up. Your chance of succeeding is much better if you're really committed to quitting. If you're sort of half-hearted about it, then your chance of success is going to be less. So really we want people to plan and really be very motivated for their quit attempt, and they will succeed much better.
Well, all smokers want to give up. We suffer the illusion that we choose to smoke. All we do is experiment with those first cigarettes, and they taste awful. Unfortunately, most smokers can remember just how disgusting they are and how hard we have to work to get hooked on the things. You ask any smoker if they encourage their children to smoke, their grandchildren to smoke. No way. Smokers hate the thought of their children smoking, which means we wish we'd never smoked ourselves. Now, most smokers have attempts in their life to stop, more than one. But if you just once say in your life, I want to stop, you're actually saying, I want to spend the rest of my life as a non-smoker, not a smoker.
But aren't there times when you're sort of more ready than other times? If you have a well-meaning relative who's really worried about your health, who sends you off to try and give up smoking, and you're not ready,
well,
isn't that going to be a problem?
It's true. Unless you say, I'm going to do it now, I want to do it now, to force a smoker to stop would be like forcing somebody with claustrophobia into a lift. They'll fight it, and they'll go against it. But underneath, all smokers have got this feeling. They know they didn't want to be smokers. Only an idiot would decide to be a smoker for life. They know they didn't need them before they started. But the trouble is, because we believe that there is some crutch or pleasure, and when we try to stop, the first time we get this thing, oh, I want a cigarette, we start to feel we're being deprived. You see, we talk about giving up, not stopping.
So, Alan, you only have people for a few hours, don't you? 4 or 5 hours. How do you take a lifelong smoker and by the end of a session get them to be a non-smoker?
To make them realise that it does nothing for them at all. You see that the normal method of stopping is to say it's killing you, costing you a fortune. I knew that, but I still couldn't stop. What you have to do is remove the illusions which makes people smoke. And once they realise there's nothing to give up, that they're not going to be healthier, they know that, but they'll be better able to concentrate, better able to cope with stress, then instead of, oh, I mustn't, I'm not allowed to, and then it's forbidden fruit, you're fighting it all the time, you're having to use willpower. Once you realise it's like being released from a prison, you're like the Count of Monte Cristo, you put out that last cigarette, no, oh, isn't it great? I've finally escaped from this prison, I don't need to smoke anymore.
Sarah Ward, do you think that we've got it wrong in this country in terms of our health campaigns targeted at smoking, lecturing people on how bad it is for us? According to Alan Carr, that's not really the way to go. People do understand it's bad for them. They do want to give up. We shouldn't waste our money in that way.
People do understand that it's bad for them, but we still need to continue with public education and public awareness. It's a sort of three-pronged approach in that we need to be able to make people aware of the dangers of smoking, not only for themselves, for the people around them in terms of passive smoking, but also we need to support people who want to quit through such things as the NHS Stop Smoking services and things like that. And we also need to work for smoke-free workplaces in that we all have a right to work in a smoke-free environment and protect our health.
Do smoke-free environments really make a difference, though? Don't people just find somewhere else to smoke?
No, they absolutely make a difference. We know from Ireland and from New York that the smoking rates have decreased from those countries.